The last thing I expected that morning was betrayal. I wasn't even supposed to be near the cabin. I was just doing what I'd done 100 times before, dropping off my husband's meds. He always forgot them on purpose, if you ask me. Said he needed a reason for me to visit. I used to think that was sweet. But that day, I found out everything was a lie. It started the moment I turned off the highway. The gravel road crackled under my tires. The trees swayed in the early fall breeze and the cabin peeked through the woods like something out of a postcard. But as I slowed down to pull into the drive, I saw it. A silver SUV, parked right outside the cabin. It was my daughter-in-law's. No doubt about it. The same vanity plate. The same scratch on the back bumper from when she hit our mailbox and blamed the wind. My first thought? Maybe she brought him something too. But then my stomach dropped. Why didn't she call me? Why would she come out here alone, unannounced, when she claimed she had a doctor's appointment that morning? I parked my car further down the trail, out of sight. My hands were already shaking. I don't know why. Something felt off. I walked toward the cabin slowly, keeping low behind the tree line. Maybe I was overreacting. But the moment I got close enough to see through the window, I knew I wasn't. I peeked through the side window. My heart jumped into my throat. She was standing in the kitchen, laughing with my husband, wearing a silk robe. His robe. And he was shirtless. The robe was barely tied. They were standing so close she touched his chest like she owned it. Then I heard it. The moment that shattered everything. She giggled and said, "Do you think she suspects anything?" And he, my husband, chuckled and replied, "Not a clue. She's still out playing Grandma of the Year." My breath caught. I backed away so fast I nearly stepped on a branch. I clutched the tree next to me like I was drowning. My chest burned. I thought I was going to throw up. I thought I was going to collapse. She wasn't supposed to be there. That wasn't supposed to be happening. My daughter-in-law and my husband, under my nose, in my home, with my family. What kind of sick game were they playing? My mind raced. Was this the first time? Did my son know? How long had this been going on? How many family dinners had they smiled across the table from me, knowing what they were doing behind closed doors? And then, something worse happened. Something that made my fingers go ice cold. My daughter-in-law said, "You need to tell her soon, or I will. I'm not waiting forever." My husband took a step back. "You need to calm down. She's fragile. I'll handle it." "No," she snapped. "You promised you'd leave her after the surgery. That was 3 months ago." My knees buckled. My surgery. The one I almost didn't survive. They were waiting for me to die. And when I didn't, they got impatient. That's when I realized. This wasn't just an affair. This was a plan. A betrayal so deep it cut through bone. I had to get out of there before they saw me. I had to think. But just as I turned to leave, the door creaked open, and someone stepped out onto the porch. I froze where I stood, breath held, heart pounding in my ears. And then, a voice called out, "I saw your car, you know. Come on out. Let's not pretend anymore." I stood there frozen behind the tree, my heart thudding so loud I thought they could hear it. My husband's voice echoed off the porch like a threat wrapped in calm. "I saw your car, you know. Come on out. Let's not pretend anymore." My mouth was dry. My palms were wet. My whole body screamed run, but my legs refused. My mind kept spinning. Did he really see me? Was he bluffing? Or had I been careless in my shock? I slowly leaned just enough to peek through the trees. He was standing on the porch, squinting into the woods, arms crossed like a man who knew a secret, and was waiting for it to come crawling toward him. "I won't ask again," he said louder. "I know you're there, Anna." My knees almost gave out. He knew. He wasn't bluffing. My breath came in shallow gasps. I stepped out slowly, trying to keep my face neutral, but I could feel the blood draining from it. His eyes locked onto mine. For a second, something flickered across his face. Surprise? Guilt? No. Arrogance. That smug smile curled at the edge of his lips like he had everything under control, like he'd been preparing for this moment. "What a surprise," he said, stepping aside like a gentleman. "Why don't you come inside?" I didn't move. "Where's Leah?" I asked, my voice sharp, cracking. "Still inside," he said, as if we were discussing a dinner guest. "She's making coffee. You want some?" "I want answers." His smile didn't waver. "Then come in. Let's talk like adults." My jaw tightened. Every part of me wanted to slap him, scream, collapse, but I couldn't. Not yet. I needed to know how deep this betrayal went. So I walked up those wooden steps, each one heavier than the last. The cabin door creaked as he held it open. I stepped inside and was hit with the scent of vanilla candles. My candles. The same ones I used back home. She'd recreated our atmosphere, like she was replacing me one scent at a time. Leah turned around from the kitchen counter. She froze. Her smile disappeared. Her eyes darted to my husband, then back to me. "Anna." "Don't," I said sharply. "Don't you dare say my name like we're friends." She opened her mouth, but I cut her off. "How long?" She looked at him again. Silence. "I asked you both, how long has this been going on?" My husband stepped between us. "This isn't how we wanted you to find out." "You were never supposed to find out," I hissed. "Were you waiting for me to die? Is that what this was?" Leah's face flushed. "It's not like that." "Then explain it," I snapped. "Because from where I'm standing, my daughter-in-law is wearing my husband's robe and whispering about when he's going to leave me." She stepped back. "We didn't plan this. We fell in love." I laughed. It was loud, bitter and painful. "You fell in love? With your father-in-law?" "Don't say it like that," she whispered. "Say it like what? Like what it is?" I turned to him. "And you brought her here? To our place?" "You were distant," he said coldly. "After your surgery, you changed. You weren't yourself." My voice dropped. I was fighting for my life. I was in pain every day. "And I was lonely," he said. "I needed comfort, someone who understood me." "So you chose her?" I gestured toward Leah, who now looked like she wanted to disappear. "Our son's wife." "They were separated," he shot back. "Don't pretend you didn't know that." "That doesn't make this okay," I screamed. "You don't seduce your son's wife just because your own is recovering from surgery." Leah finally found her voice. "We didn't mean for it to happen. It just did." "Then unmake it," I growled. "Undo it. End it. Because if you think I'm going to stand by while you destroy this family, it's already destroyed," my husband snapped. "And you did that long before we ever—" He stopped himself. Too late. The words hung in the air like poison. I stared at him. "So that's it. You blame me." "You checked out," he said flatly. "I tried to bring you back. You pushed me away." "I was healing," I said, my voice trembling. "I was in bed for weeks. You barely came to my side." "Because it hurt too much to watch," he said, stepping closer. "You weren't the woman I married anymore. You were fading." "So you replaced me?" "I needed someone alive," he whispered. I flinched. Leah reached out, but I pulled away. "Don't touch me," I said. "You lost that right the moment you stepped into this cabin with him." "I love him," she said softly. "No, you love the idea of him, the attention, the thrill. You have no idea what love is. Love is staying beside someone when they're at their worst, not jumping into bed with the nearest warm body." "Stop," my husband said. "This doesn't help anything." "You're right," I said. "So let's get to the part where I ask the real question." I looked at them both, my eyes narrowing. Were you going to tell our son? Leah looked away. He went silent. Answer me, I said. Was he going to find out from you or from the next family dinner when I didn't show up? Leah began crying. He doesn't know. Please don't tell him. Not yet. I took a deep breath. My chest felt like it was splitting open. He deserves to know, more than anyone. We were going to wait, my husband said. Wait for what? I shouted. For me to finally leave? For him to file the divorce papers on your behalf? Or were you just hoping I'd have another health scare and disappear quietly? Leah sobbed. We didn't want to hurt him. Then you shouldn't have betrayed him, I said. It's that simple. I turned toward the door. I'm done here. You can't just leave like this, my husband said, following me. Watch me. Please, Leah called after me. Can we talk tomorrow? Somewhere private? I stopped. What more could you possibly say to me that wouldn't make this worse? There's something you don't know, she said quietly. Something he hasn't told you. I turned back slowly. Her eyes met mine. They were filled with fear. What are you talking about? I asked. She glanced nervously at him. You didn't tell her yet, did you? Leah, he warned. Not here. Tell me what? I demanded. Tell me now. He was going to leave you, she whispered. But not for me, at first. He already had someone else. Before me. I stared at him. Is that true? His silence was louder than anything he could have said. It's not what you think, he muttered. No, I think it's exactly what I think, I said. You've been lying to me for years. I was lonely long before Leah, he confessed. I didn't cheat, not physically, but emotionally. Yes, I was distant. I was gone. So why did you stay? I asked. Why keep up the charade? Because of the money, Leah said quietly. Because of the trust. My world tilted. What trust? The inheritance, she whispered. The cabin, the land, your father's will. I stepped back. What does my father's will have to do with this? She hesitated. You haven't checked the documents, have you? What documents? I asked slowly. My husband stepped forward. We can talk about this later. No, I snapped. Now, tell me, what have you done? Leah's voice trembled. He changed it. Months ago, he forged your father's signature, transferred the cabin into his name. That's a lie, he said sharply. Is it? I asked. Because that sounds like something you'd do. He glared at her. You said you wouldn't bring that up. I didn't know she'd be here, Leah cried. I thought she deserved the truth. You thought wrong, he hissed. And that's when it happened. Leah picked up her phone. I recorded our conversations, all of it, every lie, every plan. He lunged toward her, but I stepped in his way. Don't, I said, my voice low. You lay one hand on her and I swear. He stopped, seething. Give me the phone, he growled. Not a chance, Leah said, her voice shaky but firm. You said you'd handle this. You didn't. Now it's in my hands. My head was spinning. Why would you record him? Because I didn't trust him, she said. I thought he might do something stupid, and he did. I stared at them both. This wasn't just an affair. It was a web of lies, secrets, money, betrayal, and something darker, and I was caught right in the middle. Give me that recording, I said. No, she said, not yet. I want something first. What? She looked up, her eyes burning. I want to make things right, but not alone. I want your help, to expose him, to destroy him. I blinked. Why would I help you? Because you're the only one he never saw coming, she said. And because he doesn't know I'm pregnant. That word hit me like a slap across the face. My ears rang. My feet felt numb. My breath caught in my chest. And for a full 10 seconds, I couldn't move. Leah's eyes were wide, locked on mine like she had just confessed a murder. And in a way, maybe she had. She had taken everything, my trust, my marriage, my peace, and now she was carrying a child. But not just any child. Maybe my grandchild, or worse, my replacement's child. Say that again, I whispered. I'm pregnant, she said softly, tears brimming. And I think it's his. I turned slowly toward my husband. He looked frozen, pale, like his body had shut down. You think? I asked. You think it's his? Leah nodded. I was still seeing our son around that time. But things had started falling apart. We were confused, angry. I made a mistake. A mistake? I said, my voice shaking. Is that what you call this? A mistake? I didn't mean for this to happen. I stared at her, then back at him. How long have you known? I asked him directly. He didn't answer. How long? A few weeks, he finally said. And you said nothing. I didn't know what to do, he muttered. You didn't know what to do, I repeated, mocking. So you just kept living like nothing was happening. Kept lying to our son, to me, to the entire family, while your mistress, his wife, is carrying a child that might belong to you. Don't say it like that, Leah said. It's the truth, I snapped. And you don't get to rewrite it now. She backed up against the counter. I told you because I want to do the right thing now. Now, I laughed bitterly. You want redemption. After sleeping with your husband's father, after sneaking around like rats in this cabin, you want to do the right thing now. Anna, stop, my husband said. This isn't helping. No, you stop, I snapped. You stop standing there like you're the victim. You knew what you were doing. You knew exactly what you were risking, and you did it anyway. And now? You want me to help you? You think I'm going to join your twisted little crusade? You said it yourself, Leah whispered. He's dangerous. This goes deeper than you know. If I go public alone, he'll ruin me. You should have thought about that before crawling into bed with him, I spat. I didn't come here to be part of your drama. I came to bring him his medication. And now I'm stuck in the middle of a storm you created. You think this storm started with me? She shot back. This man has been manipulating everyone around him for years. Your family, his work, his image. You think this cabin is a love nest? It's a vault. He keeps everything here. Documents, deals, secrets. What are you saying? I asked slowly. She reached for her bag and pulled out a small flash drive. I've been collecting everything. Emails, voice memos, signed contracts, forged wills. My eyes narrowed. You're lying. No, she said. Not about this. I didn't trust him. Not fully. I wanted protection, insurance, and when I found out I was pregnant, I started looking through his laptop. That's when I realized he wasn't just cheating. He was stealing. My breath hitched. From who? From your son. From the company. From you. I turned to him. His expression had changed. He wasn't smug anymore. He wasn't even angry. He was cornered. Tell me she's lying, I said. Tell me none of this is true. He looked down. That silence told me everything. Why? I asked. Why would you do this? Because it was easy, he muttered. Because no one was watching. We trusted you, I said, my voice cracking. Your son looked up to you. I stood by you. And you... I got tired, he snapped. Tired of pretending, of being the perfect husband, perfect father, perfect everything. I wanted freedom. I wanted something different. So you chose theft, betrayal, your own family? You were never satisfied, he said. You always wanted more. You pushed and pushed. I gave everything, and it was never enough. That doesn't justify any of this, I hissed. Not the lies, not the affair, not the manipulation. Leah stepped forward. That flash drive contains everything. You can take it, use it, expose him, or don't. But I need to know you won't let him bury me. Why should I protect you? I asked. You broke everything. Because I'm scared, she said. Because he threatened me. Said if I opened my mouth, I'd regret it. that no one would believe me. "She's lying," he said quickly. "She's trying to save herself." "Shut up," I snapped. "I don't believe either of you right now, but I'm not stupid. I've seen enough to know this goes deeper than some pathetic affair." Leah looked at me. "Please, you don't have to forgive me, but don't let him win." I stared at the flash drive. My hands were shaking again. Everything I thought I knew was crumbling. My marriage, my family, my own instincts. I'd lived with a liar, loved him, protected him, and he'd used me. I took the flash drive. "If you're lying," I whispered, "I'll burn you both." "I'm not," she said. "You'll see." "Get out," I said. "Both of you." "Anna," I said, "get out." They froze, and then one by one they walked past me and out the door. Leah looked back once, but I didn't meet her eyes. I locked the door behind them. I stood there in the cabin's silence, holding that flash drive, feeling like I was holding a loaded gun. I needed to know the truth, all of it. So I opened his laptop, and what I found made my stomach twist into knots. There were folders, labelled by year, by name, some with code words I didn't recognise. I clicked on one labelled Trust Transfer AG. Inside were scanned documents, legal-looking pages with forged signatures, notary stamps that didn't match, and lines transferring cabin ownership from my father's estate to my husband's name. But that wasn't all. There were emails, between him and a lawyer I'd never heard of, about offshore accounts, property hidden from tax declarations, payments made from my family's trust fund, money meant for our grandchildren's education, funneled into a personal account in the Caymans. I sat there, breathless. Betrayal didn't even begin to cover this. He wasn't just cheating. He was erasing me, replacing me, and worse, he'd used me as cover. The faithful wife, the innocent grandma, the clueless woman behind the man. I wasn't clueless anymore, and he had no idea what I was about to do next. I pulled out my phone, called my lawyer, then I called a friend at the local news station, then I called my son, and when I heard his voice, my own broke. "Mum? What's wrong?" he asked. I paused. "I need to see you, tonight, alone." "Okay, is everything all right?" "Not even close," I whispered. "But it will be." "Where should we meet?" he asked. I looked around the cabin one last time. "Come here, to the cabin." "The cabin? Is Dad there?" "He was," I said, "but I just buried everything he built." "What do you mean?" "I mean," I said, "you're about to find out who your father really is." I hung up. I stared out the window, and then, behind the trees, I saw movement, a shadow, a figure watching, and something told me he hadn't really left at all. I didn't move at first. I just stared through the window, locking eyes with nothing and everything. There was no doubt in my mind, someone was out there, still, watching. My breath caught in my throat. The forest was quiet, too quiet. No bird song, no wind, only the faint rustle of branches shifting unnaturally. I reached slowly for the curtain and pulled it shut, then stepped back, my hands trembling. "He didn't leave," I whispered to myself. "He's still here." I grabbed the flash drive and shoved it into my purse, zipped it shut like sealing a vault, and double-checked that the front and back doors were locked. Then I paused, took a breath, and reminded myself this cabin used to be my safe space. My father built it with his bare hands. Every log, every floorboard, every nail carried the weight of generations. Now it was crawling with lies. I wasn't going to let him poison it. I wasn't going to let him sneak back in and destroy whatever piece of truth I had left. I checked the kitchen drawer, still had the old revolver. My father had kept it for wild animals. It hadn't been fired in years. I popped it open. 2 bullets left, better than nothing. I set it on the counter and moved to the living room, lowering the blinds. Then I sat in the corner chair facing the door, back against the wall like I was preparing for war. 15 minutes passed, then 20, then 30. Still no movement, no knock, no sound, until thud. The sound came from the back porch, light, almost too soft to be heard, but real. I froze, holding my breath. Another thud, closer this time. I grabbed the revolver. I didn't shake, not this time. I was too far past fear. I crept down the hallway toward the back door, the same one I used to sneak my son outside when he was a kid, and we'd stargaze on the back steps. I placed my hand on the doorknob and leaned in, listening. Silence. Then suddenly, crack. The back window shattered. I dropped to the ground just as glass sprayed across the floor. Someone had thrown a rock, or something heavier, right through the window. I crawled to the side and peeked through the broken frame. No one. But I could feel it. He was out there. He wanted me to know. This was a warning, a message, or worse, a trap. I crawled back to the kitchen, grabbed my phone and dialed 911, but as soon as I hit call, no signal, no bars. No, I muttered. The tower had always been weak up here, but now, completely dead. I tried texting my son. Message failed. He was supposed to be on his way. And now, I was cut off. I pulled the landline off the wall, but it was already dead. I felt sick. My legs trembled now. The gun felt heavy in my hands. I stepped back into the living room, unsure what to do, when I saw the doorknob slowly turning. Not fast, not frantic, slow, deliberate. I raised the revolver. "Don't!" I said through gritted teeth. "I swear to God, if you come through that door—" The turning stopped. Silence again. Then a voice. "It's me. My son." "Jason," I asked. "Mum, are you okay?" "What are you doing outside?" I yelled. "I knocked. No one answered," he said. "So I walked around back and saw the window. What happened?" I flung the door open and pulled him inside, locking it behind him. "He's here," I said. "I think he never left." "Dad?" "Yes." "Are you sure?" "He broke the back window. I saw him outside earlier." Jason looked around. "This place is trashed. What's going on?" "Sit down," I said. "We don't have much time." I gave him the flash drive. "What is this?" "Proof. Of everything. Your father has been stealing from the trust, from the company, from us." His jaw clenched. "Mom, are you serious?" "Completely. Where did you get this?" "Leah gave it to me." His face changed, hardened. "Don't say her name." "I have to. She's pregnant." His breath caught. "She said it might be yours, or it might be his." Jason stumbled back like I'd hit him. No, that can't be." "I wish it wasn't," I said. "She came here today. I found them together. In this cabin." "They used our cabin." His voice cracked. "Dad brought her here?" "They'd been meeting for months." Jason sank into the couch, burying his face in his hands. "Why didn't I see it?" he whispered. "Why did I defend her?" "Because you believed in them," I said, "like I did. But we were wrong." He looked up. "We need to take this to the police." "I tried," I said, "but I don't have signal. I think he's jamming it." "Jamming?" "Don't ask me how, but nothing works. Not my phone, not the landline." Jason stood. "Then we leave now." "Wait." But before I could finish, something exploded outside. A loud bang. The lights flickered and died. Smoke, fire. Jason ran to the window. "The car!" he shouted. "What? My car. It's on fire." I ran to the window and saw it. Flames engulfing his vehicle. Black smoke twisting into the air. "He's trapping us here," Jason said. "He knew I was coming. He's been watching." "We need to go," I said. "On foot, through the woods." With what? He could be armed. I grabbed the revolver. "So are we." "Mom, I'm not dying in this cabin," I said. "Not without a fight." Jason looked at me, eyes wide. "You've changed." "No," I said. "I finally woke up." We packed the flash drive into a Ziploc bag, tucked it deep into Jason's backpack, then slipped out the back. Every step through those woods felt like walking through a nightmare. The fire behind us lit the sky in a flickering orange, and somewhere just out of sight, we knew he was watching. But we didn't stop. Not until the trees thinned, not until we reached the old ranger station 2 miles down. Jason banged on the door. A tired-looking man opened it, then jumped to attention when he saw the panic on our faces. Within minutes, we had power, signal, safety. We called the police, the fire department, and finally, the truth began to break open. Officers were dispatched to the cabin, fire crews arrived to control the blaze, and Jason and I? We sat in silence, clutching that flash drive like it held our entire future. But just as the sheriff walked in to take our statement, his radio buzzed. Cabin clear, but we found something. What is it? He asked. Silence, then. A body. Jason turned to me. I stood slowly. What body? Too soon to say. Female. Burned badly. Could be recent. I felt the world tilt. Leah, I whispered. Jason looked sick. No. The sheriff narrowed his eyes. You said she left with your husband? Yes, I said. Together? That's what I thought. Then why would only one of them be at the scene? I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Jason stepped forward. You don't think... We need to bring you in, the sheriff said. Now. This just turned from fraud to homicide. My pulse raced. Do you think he... We don't know yet. But if he's not there, and she is... We've got a bigger problem. You think he killed her? Jason asked. The sheriff nodded. Or someone wants it to look that way. I grabbed his arm. Sheriff, what if she never left? He looked confused. What do you mean? What if she never walked out that door? What if he killed her before she ever stepped off the porch? You said she handed you the drive. She did. Or at least, I thought she did. Thought? Jason asked. My voice went flat. I never saw her car leave. I just assumed they left together. But he came back, Jason. He doubled back, that shadow, the broken window, the fire. It wasn't just a threat. He was covering something. You think he killed her in the cabin? Or somewhere nearby before I ever made the call. Jason shook his head. We were in the house for hours. Her car was gone. What if it wasn't? I said. What if he moved it? Or torched the wrong one? The sheriff grabbed his radio. Get forensics on the remains. Confirm identity ASAP. Look for a second vehicle nearby. Jason turned to me, eyes wide. What if he planted the body to make it look like she's dead, but she's not? Why would he do that? I asked. To disappear? To frame us? To start over? Who knows? I looked out the window. Rain had started falling. Gentle. Almost soothing. But inside, my chest felt hollow. Whatever his plan is, we just walked into it. We waited for hours in that ranger station, surrounded by police radios and stale coffee. Every update twisted tighter around our chests. The body found in the cabin was burned beyond recognition, the sheriff said, but early evidence suggested a woman. Jason paced the floor, fists clenched, head down. What if it's really her? He whispered. What if Leah's gone? I didn't know what to say. I hated her for what she did, hated what she represented, but no one deserved to end like that, not even her. We can't be sure yet, I said, my voice hollow, until they ID her. What if Dad planned this all along? Jason asked. What if the whole affair, the pregnancy, all of it was just part of something bigger? I met his eyes. Then we end it, today. No more hiding, no more pretending. The sheriff returned with news. Forensics found a bracelet in the debris, one of those name-engraved kinds. It says Leah. Jason flinched. That doesn't mean it's her, I said quickly. He could have planted it. It's possible, the sheriff replied. "We're not ruling anything out." Jason grabbed the flash drive. "We need to take this to the DA, right now." "We're already sending it through," the sheriff said. "We've got a warrant to freeze his assets. If even half of what's on there is real, this isn't just fraud, it's premeditated." My hands trembled again, but this time not from fear, from clarity, from knowing this nightmare had an end. Jason and I were driven to the precinct in silence. The drive through the woods felt longer than it ever had, like every tree was watching us, like the forest knew this was the last chapter of something cursed. When we arrived, a detective met us outside. "We've reviewed the flash drive," she said. "And?" Jason asked. "It's bad. Real bad. Wire transfers, shell companies, even a fake identity registered in the Philippines." My stomach flipped. Fake identity? Name, passport, offshore accounts. He's been preparing to disappear. Jason stepped forward. "Where is he now?" "Gone," the detective said. "He vanished right after the fire. But we traced a rental SUV to his name. Picked up 2 towns over. Our guess? He dumped Leah's car, set the fire to fake a tragedy, and slipped out while everyone thought he was a grieving husband." "So she's really dead?" Jason asked. "Too early to confirm, but the scene suggests whoever was in that cabin didn't die peacefully." My knees buckled slightly. I leaned against the wall. The detective noticed. "We've got teams tracking the rental, border alerts are active, and we flagged all flights. He won't get far." "He's smart," I said. "He's been playing this for years." "That's why we're moving faster," she replied, "and we'll need both of you to testify." Jason and I nodded. We signed our statements, gave full timelines. The cabin, the betrayal, the emails, the flash drive, every last detail, no matter how humiliating. It had to be done. Truth, even ugly truth, was the only thing that could kill the lies. But just as we were finishing, an officer burst in. "Ma'am, sir, you need to come with me, now." "What's going on?" the detective asked. "He just tried to cross into Mexico. Failed." Jason's eyes widened. "They caught him?" "No," the officer said. "He doubled back, high-speed pursuit, crashed the SUV outside a rest stop 20 miles east." "And?" I asked, barely breathing. "He's alive," the officer said. "In custody." The detective stood. "Take us there." The drive was silent again, but not like before. This time, the silence was thick with anticipation, a clock ticking toward reckoning. When we arrived at the site, the scene was a mess of flashing lights, tire tracks, and broken fences. The SUV had slammed into a ditch, and there he was, handcuffed, mud-streaked, bloody lip, sitting on the bumper of a patrol car, but alive, still breathing. He looked up as we stepped out. Our eyes met. No words passed between us, just a long, ugly history in one look. The detective leaned over to me. "Do you want to speak to him?" "No," I said. "There's nothing left to say." But Jason did. He walked straight up to the patrol car and stood over his father. "You tried to destroy us," he said. "You almost did." My husband sneered. "You don't understand anything." "I understand enough," Jason snapped. "You took everything my mother gave you, her loyalty, her love, her strength, and you tried to bury it under a mountain of lies." "She failed me first," he muttered. "No," Jason said, his voice rising. "You failed yourself. And now, you don't get to run, you don't get to disappear, you get to rot." The officers loaded him into the back of the car. The door shut with a thud that felt like closure. Not justice yet, but the beginning of it. Back at the station, things moved fast. The body was confirmed through dental records. It was Leah, burned, likely unconscious before the fire. Jason didn't speak for a long time after that. I sat beside him, holding his hand. He didn't pull away, not anymore. When the district attorney announced the charges, fraud, arson, manslaughter, attempted murder, I felt the weight finally shift, not disappear, but shift. We went home that night, Not to the main house, not to the cabin, but to the lake house, a place untouched by betrayal, a place that still felt like ours. Jason fell asleep on the porch. I stayed up watching the stars, and for the first time in months, maybe years, I breathed without a tremble. He had tried to end everything, our trust, our family, our peace, but he failed. Because even in the darkest twist of betrayal, truth has a way of rising. A few weeks later, I testified in court, calm, direct, relentless. Jason did too. The flash drive was presented as the final nail. And the jury? They didn't take long. Guilty, on all counts. I sat in the courtroom and listened to the judge sentence the man I once loved to 45 years in federal prison. He didn't look at me, not once, but I looked at him, and I didn't feel pity or vengeance. I felt clean. On the steps of the courthouse, Jason and I spoke to the press. We told the truth. Not for attention, but for healing. For all the women who had ever been lied to. For the sons who were used as shields. For the families who thought silence would protect them. We told our story so others wouldn't fall silent in theirs. And as we left the courthouse, reporters shouting, cameras flashing, Jason squeezed my hand. "You okay?" he asked. I nodded. "Getting there." He paused. "I'm sorry I didn't believe you at first." "You believe me now," I said. "That's what matters." He nodded, and we walked away, not just from the courthouse, but from the ruins of the life that man tried to build with lies. We didn't just survive him, we buried him, with truth, with fire, and with every step we took forward. We built something new, something honest, something free. Because no matter how dark the lie, no matter how deep the betrayal, the truth always finds its way back home.